Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, I'm K.C.
And I'm Tyler.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
What's happening to all y'all people out there? Guess what? We've been picking up bucks. We've been picking up cameras. We've been just doing all kinds of picking up. Except for my house. It's a mess, but that's okay because that's the way it goes. Right, Tyler?
Yeah, I've been picking up tomatoes.
Ooh, off the ground? Are they that ripe? They just fall off and you eat them?
Man. They fall into my hand. I just hold my hand underneath and it knows. The electromagnetic force just brings it down into my hand. The force.
We were talking about Star Wars before this, but I thought you were just getting all technical because we had to have a technical podcast up in here.
I'm the most technical.
Not really. That's actually kind of the cool part about what we're going to do. We're going to talk to Isaac Smith, who is my brother from Vector Arrows. Vector Custom Shop, actually. That's what you need to look for because Vector Arrows, Vector is a type of arrow. It's geometric term.
Shape.
So if you just Google Vector, it's going to come up with arrows, but not the kind you shoot deer with. So they did it on purpose, but you got to go to Vector Custom Shop to find their arrows. Anyways, we're going to talk to Isaac some about just hunting and hunting in Wisconsin and other stuff he's done, and talk a little bit about Vector and some of the cool stuff they have going on over there because they really this is why we're shooting them this year. You know, we kind of made a change. We like heavy duty, durable arrows that are hard hitting. And Vector has that, and then they also have a customability. Is that the right way to say that?
I think so.
It's Friday afternoon, y'all, and my tongue is just it's kind of lazy.
Sticking in tongues.
Yeah. So
they got a customization.
They're very customizable and just easy to find the right thing for you. But we'll let Isaac tell you more about that. But before then, we have some stuff that we need to tell y'all about because it's good, actually. It's real good. Tyler and I just went to the taxidermist today, and we picked up the last 2 deer from the taxidermist, which is my Kansas buck and your Texas private buck from your property, and they are giants.
They are.
They're huge.
Why did you shoot an elephant last year?
I don't know. Why did you shoot an animal that has a whole rocking chair on top of its head?
For real. Dude, you needed all your FOC for that.
For real.
FEC. Goodness. No, sir.
You don't need FEC.
Don't ever talk about them again. Paint's coming off my walls in this house.
I don't mean to.
By the way, this is the first time we've podcasted in the new house.
How about that, dude?
Yeah,
we're not truck casting today. We're in a new house. There's deer stuff everywhere, dude. This is just a good day.
It is.
But we're gonna do some deer hanging. We took some pictures. We got some hunt breakdowns that are gonna come out from these deer. Actually, we've been talking about this for a while, but you're gonna have a pretty cinematic series that comes out about your deer with a hunt breakdown following that. But I would imagine my hunt breakdown will be out pretty soon. How soon, we're unsure. But so we just released a podcast video on YouTube. Go listen to that if you haven't. It's Jesse Griffith's podcast. But before that, there was a pretty cool one that we put out What was it? Is it?
Is the Hunt Breakdown? Or
no,
the
I
pig
think it
video?
was. We did pig video, but the one I'm thinking about is the 4 biggest public land bucks.
Yeah, top 4 biggest.
Y'all need to go watch that because
it's pretty cool.
it's pretty hot.
It is pretty high. We cut all the fluff out, man, and it's just pretty quick hunts, you know.
Yeah.
And so, if you're that kind of guy that likes it, that kind of stuff, kind of the high overview of it, then it's on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, your Kansas Hunt Breakdown will come back pretty soon. I think. Let's see. If you're listening to this before like Monday the 5th. Then Monday the 5th, I think we've got a Hunt Breakdown coming out from Kansas as well, but
Sweet.
No dead deer, just really close encounters. And then, yeah, that one will come out. So I also am kind of trying to think and look at soon to see if I can put anything together from Cabo.
We need to get some pics for that out. I don't know if you got any of them in the drive or not. I think I looked the other day and couldn't find one, but
I think I sent the drive to the group.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got it.
Because there's some sick stuff from that. We actually, I guess you have a new lens, right? That's your lens.
I guess.
Yeah. I can't remember who bought what, when, where, but we got a new camera and a new lens and all kinds of new lenses. Anyways, production's cool right now, and there's some cool fish pictures.
Yeah.
There's also some cool deer pictures about to happen because we've been talking about this stuff for a while. But we finally got our Moultrie Delta cell cams in the mail, and actually got those while we were on vacation. But today was like our work day to get them all kind of going, and we got the app set up, kind of. We're kind of still playing with it and messing with it because we want to make sure that we know exactly what we're doing and can kind of share all that stuff with y'all. And we probably will do that pretty soon. But it's pretty cool to have a inexpensive cell camera that seems to work pretty good. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited to get these things out. I might carry that one home and put it on my fence post back there on my cairn. You might need to take the other one and stick it out there and see if there's any piggies coming up.
Probably should, man.
I don't see any right now.
It'd be cool to just go back there and shoot pigs when they're out.
Oh, I know. We could sit up here. So you can turn this thing to like the instant. As soon as it takes a picture, it sends it to you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But
they haven't outlawed them yet.
No, they haven't outlawed them yet.
They won't outlaw them in Texas.
I won't use that for deer just because it's actually not that handy if you're hunting public land like we're going to be doing most of the time with these things. I don't see any pigs, Tyler.
What if you could get you could put them on public land and then as somebody's stealing it, and so you go out there and catch them.
Oh man,
confront them on public land.
Dang, we could just set somebody up.
Dang, we could.
Yeah.
Yep.
ODB. I'm gonna catch him. Yeah, I'm gonna catch him. But they are pretty cool, and it's actually pretty easy setup as long as your debit card hasn't been compromised by some other company who tried to fraud you. It works pretty good.
Yeah. Tell you what, if Brian Koch doesn't stop sending me text messages right now, I'm about to beat him up.
We about to go up there and just beat him up.
We're going to do some Map Scout Challenge stuff with him.
Like 8 days from that or something like that right now. I mean, when this comes out, we'll be like, okay.
About there.
Next week. So this is going to come out on Thursday the 7th or something like that. Maybe 8th. I don't know. Whatever that Thursday is after the 4th of July. We're going to have production Friday and Saturday with our whole crew. Eric, Chris, and Hunter are all going to be with us. We might have to try to podcast sometime during all that.
We definitely should.
Then shortly thereafter, we're headed to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan to go Map Scout Challenge. If you're in that area or whatever, holler at us if you got a cool place we need to go, or if you want to high five us while we're going down the road or whatever, and we'll do that. If there's, I don't know if that's Casey's country or not.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I hope it is. If not, we might need the tips.
It's probably like Guggenschlagens or something.
Something weird, like, look, up here we pickled cheese. It's real good, It's like, what are we doing? Where's the fried stuff,
There's people hating right now, man. We're just kidding. We love our Michigan friends.
Hey, I'm
Sam
actually
Hogan, one of our favorite people.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if he gets us on a big boat this next week.
Big buck too.
Yeah, for real. I'm actually about to go home, or not home. We're going to go to my parents' house and eat all kinds of Yankee food. So I don't know.
But this is like an intentional Yankee food thing, right?
Yeah. So If y'all don't know, I am a half-breed. I am half Yankee and half Southerner. My mom is from Minnesota, born in Alaska. Okay?
You ever watched Turtle Man? Have you ever watched the Turtle Man actual original video?
No, I don't think so.
He does this segment where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm half Rebel Indian, half Cherokee, half Union." That's Yankee, and he like ends up being like a person and a half by the time he's done talking about all the different breeds.
It's funny. That's me. Yeah, for sure. That's all right. But so my parents just went on vacation up there to see my mom's family, and my mom's best friend and stuff's up there, and they brought home smoked salmon and pickled herring, potato sausage, lefse, krumkaka, all this stuff.
I've never had any of that.
Have you not?
I don't think so.
I need to bring you some stuff.
Yeah, if you got extras.
So lefse is like a Norwegian tortilla, but made with a potato base and not a flour base.
That can't be bad.
It's pretty good. It's real good, and it's toasted like that. Krumkaka is really good as well. It's a dessert cookie that's kind of semi-sweet.
Is that from Kamchatka?
Yeah, I think so. And then all kinds of other stuff. Pickled. You never had pickled herring, dude? Let me tell you something. That sounds weird, pickled fish, but it is so good.
Really?
That
just eat them straight, or do you put them on
eat it
something?
like whatever, but you eat it with cracker, maybe some sour cream or cream cheese or mustard or whatever. I'm pretty sure any of you Northerners that listen, you can probably confirm or deny, but I'm pretty sure they keep pickled herring in bars, like kind of on the counter, like you see peanuts or something like that sometimes. Like it's a thing people eat, like in the really old timey bars and stuff. Yeah, but anyways, potato sausage is like sausage with some potato in it, of course, and then all the good stuff. I mean, you've had smoked salmon.
Yeah.
Oh. Last November, I had some candied salmon. Do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no.
That's the good stuff. It's really, I hate this definition, or I hate this word, but it's very rich.
Hey, you're using it.
It is.
You're using it.
But in that sense, it's like richness is, I think the proper way to use that is a food that has so much flavor and intensity that you cannot get full on it before your palate is overwhelmed. So if I can use that definition, it's very rich. I don't want to eat a meal of candied salmon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's too rich for that.
Yeah.
But I would like to eat a couple pieces of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's we're going to try to go up on the Map Scout Challenge. I know it's getting close. I'm heading over there at 6.
26 minutes.
I'm going to head up there. We're going to try to maybe get our own salmon, or salmon, as I've called them most of my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I know people who call them that.
I mean, I got a story for you. Oh, you got to tell us on the podcast. Okay. This is an Emory Legends story, okay, from where we're from. But my wife showed me this Facebook post yesterday of this guy who took some pretty cool pictures of the storm that came in. And she's like, look, this guy used the wrong silent letter. And he spelled the word gnarly, but it was K-N, not G. So it was gnarly. And that's hilarious to me.
That is epic.
That is the most, as a range thing.
He knew it was something there, man. Right. It's like he could hear it.
It was so bad that he may have been joking and messing around, like who knows, but it was funny. But anyways, that kind of reminds me of the salmon thing. It's like, if it's going to be silent, why not use a fun letter, put a Z in there or something.
For real.
Why got to be an L? Like, did you just mess up writing? I think that's what it was. Somebody was like, held their pen down too long in the original.
I think the natives used to just say it wrong.
Yeah,
that's how it was actually spelled, and they said it wrong.
That must be it.
That'd have to be it.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that with that, I have no smooth transition, so we might as well just get Isaac on the phone. What do you say?
That sounds right to me.
And real quick, y'all, before we get Isaac on the phone here, I wanted to let you know that if you use code ELEMENT, all caps, you do get 10% off of your Vector order. So go check out VectorCustomShop.com. Now let's get Isaac on the phone. All right, now on the phone we have got Isaac Smith with Vector Custom Shop. Isaac, is it raining there too?
It has been raining. Thank the Lord. It's been so dry. I mean, I feel like that's a story everywhere pretty much.
Yeah, man. We had probably a good stint of it being kind of dry as well, but the last couple of days it's been nice and wet and
how are y'all related?
By Noah, probably.
Okay. good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. We're brothers in Christ, Of course, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. But no, I don't know. We have not traced the parentage back very far.
I was just wondering because there's not many Smiths in the world.
There's not, yeah. Do you have any...
Honestly, at this point, you kind of stop realizing that somebody's name is Smith. Like,
you really do.
They're everywhere. You don't even acknowledge it anymore. It's just like, yeah, we're both named Smith. Yeah.
No, I didn't, straight up. Tyler was like, is his last name Smith, really? And I was like, yeah, it is. I forget that that's my last name as well,
Yeah, exactly.
These people who are like Shashevskis or whatever, like they have a lot of family pride in their last name, and we're all like, yep, there's a bunch of us who are terrible and a bunch of us who are cool. So
yeah,
it's whatever. But
sure.
I grew up in the 90s, like a lot of us did. I think you're about our age, but Emmitt Smith was real cool in the 90s, so I thought it was real cool to also have Smith on my jersey as a kid, They didn't let me have 22 very often, though. I was usually in the 70s.
Yeah.
So,
Jerry's never given me any money, even though it's in our family name, but whatever.
Yeah. So, Isaac, you have quite an interesting history when it comes to archery stuff. You kind of just have a unique approach to things, and you and I like to nerd out about arrows and components and hunting tactics and all kinds of stuff, man. So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of where you come from, how you grew up, and how you came to hunting?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I live in Wisconsin now. I've been here for about 5 years. But I grew up in Indiana and lived in the country and had a longbow as a kid and would shoot all kinds of critters that my parents didn't want me to shoot, and just it was a blast. I had a lot of adventures in the woods, just by myself, and I loved reading books like Hatchet and that I don't know, just had a wild youth and just loved being in the woods. Loved fishing. I mean, fishing's kind of more accessible to young people, I think. So I've just fished a ton, and archery was kind of always just part of being a kid and living in the country. And I did do a little bit of competing, but that was kind of on this, it was a short season and mostly just kind of run around in the woods with the trad bow and, have wild adventures. So
yeah,
that was, as a kid, I just loved it. And, through high school and college, kind of got away from it. Did a lot of fishing through those years and got really into fly fishing. And
have we talked that much about that? Because maybe we need to talk more about that. Maybe when we're growing up, because I
think so.
It's kind of one of our things, man.
I think Vector should make some fly rod blanks.
That's
what I mean?
I'm talking about.
That's what I think.
Man, I don't know anything about that. But that sounds fun. Maybe that's down the road.
Yeah, man, for sure.
But, I love fly fishing. I get lost out there, just lose track of time. That's really how bow hunting is now too. It's like it's such a zen, it's really a spiritual experience. I know you guys feel the same way. It's just being out in nature and experiencing, just the way that things are made to be, the way God intended, the world to be. It's what it feels like when you're out there. It's just I don't know. You can't explain it to somebody. You just gotta, That's why I feel like my wife doesn't quite get it, because anytime she's tagged along, it was early enough in the season to be pretty buggy. And,
Oh man, one time my wife went with me. It was the exact same thing. It was 3 days after opener, so October 3rd, 90 degrees, buggy, and we stayed in the tree stand too long, and she doesn't see very well because, I mean, you can tell she married me, so she doesn't see good. And it had gotten pretty dark, and it took me 10 minutes to talk her down because she just wouldn't take that first step out of the stand.
Eventually, it comes to, well, you can either stay up there all night, or you can come down here with me and go back to the truck. You know.
Yeah, and that's a good tactic to make sure that she doesn't go back with you, whether you want that or not.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, it's been a good experience coming back to archery and bow hunting, and you know, in my college years, and then afterward, and then Indiana. We weren't in an awesome area for deer hunting. I know Indiana's great for deer, but there just wasn't a lot of culture around it in our community either, and so it kind of just didn't really have like resources, you know, available to me to really dig in. But we moved up here, and it was like just jumped in the deep end. You know, Wisconsin that's whitetail hunting country. You know, just
did you
a lot of people into it up here. So
whenever you were a kid, you know, running around with a longbow, did you like shoot and eat groundhogs? Is that a thing people did up there?
I shot a lot of groundhogs, man, but I don't come from a hunting family, and so the thought of eating them was so like detestable to my parents that I think they just, you know, I just kind of got used to not eating them. But I would actually really like to try it, because I think it was I saw Steve Ranella post a recipe, and it was like crockpot thing or something. He did like, it looked like pulled pork.
They look like a eating critter. Like they just look like you should eat them. You know, they're kind of fat.
Yeah.
Kind of like a fat rabbit or something.
Yeah,
with no ears.
Dude, I think like this is kind of something that I struggle with too. Is like I grew up kind of doing the same thing, like shooting. You know, my mom said, "Don't ever shoot a robin," because that was her best friend growing up, was named Robin, and and she didn't want me to shoot mockingbirds because it's a state bird. And then everything else was pretty much fair game. And so I shot a bunch of like small birds with my BB guns and pellet guns, like, you know, and obviously didn't eat them, and probably could have, you know, I'm sure, but like never did. And I kind of had this like little bit of remorse every time, but I really, you know, I don't know. I think about it a lot now, especially now that I've got a son. I'm like, man, I gained so much like, just like, I guess you call it woodsmanship when it comes to like stalking the birds in the trees, and then like also just marksmanship and, you know, pulling the trigger like thousands of times, shooting at birds and stuff. I mean, I remember one time I was shooting with my buddy out on the dock, and all these little swallows were like flying around, and we always shot at them. We never thought we would hit one, and my buddy just dropped one with a BB gun one time, and we freaked out. It was the coolest thing ever, you know, like I can't believe you hit that with one BB. And so of course we didn't eat that either. And so like I kind of struggle with this, like, you know, I want my son to be out in the outdoors and shooting stuff and learning how to be a marksman and learning how to stalk and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, I don't want to teach a lesson that's you know, kind of like, well, we can just shoot stuff and just, you know, throw it away or whatever.
You do a good job of this, though. You talk about this a lot. Like, you know, you and I have both lost deer to coyotes, and it's like nothing really goes to waste.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as waste in this, you know, this machine that God created, where like, you know, there's everything's cyclical. So,
and if like we talked about this with like the Frankenstein buck that I shot in 18, like those coyotes that ate that deer that night didn't eat rabbits or didn't hunt for rabbits and then didn't kill rabbits that they would have eaten. So there's things that like survive. They only need so much food, right? So, I mean, I don't know. We may be just justifying the fact that we want to just go shoot stuff, you know, but, and shooting stuff's fun, which that's why we, you know, are talking to you, is because we're going to talk about shooting stuff with arrows. But I just kind of, that's one, I just kind of, you know, side note here. I struggle with like what I should do with that, and probably need to figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
You know, but
for sure.
Anyway, so you shot a bunch of groundhogs and stuff like that growing up. And then now you're getting back into this whole spiritual experience of being outside, seeing creation, hunting. You know, I honestly,
it just feels like being a kid again. It feels like I'm just like, you know, it's like being in a candy shop. It's just
Yeah.
the dream, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm just ate up and having a blast, and last bunch of years been, learning so much, and just, been kind of back into bow hunting for like, I think 7 years now.
Yeah.
Man, it's just so much fun. So
What kind of
having a blast.
FOC are you seeing that you need for groundhogs?
Ooh, good question. It's been a while. I haven't shot one for a while.
Man,
I'm sure that now my setup would be overkill.
do they have a
Yeah.
do they have a season, or like can we come up there like in March and shoot groundhogs?
Oh, there's no season up here.
Oh baby, man, we could load if they're good to eat. You could load up on something.
We're going to need you to test.
Oh, man.
We're going to need you to test.
I don't know. I just think of them as like a varmint, like a coon or something.
Yeah. So how is that? Your I hate to use this phrase, right? But your adult onset of hunting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing that's one of those catchy things people say nowadays. How has that gone for you? Like the past 7 years of archery hunting. Like, tell me about that experience.
Oh, it's freaking awesome, man.
I love it.
I'm having a blast. Have I not said that already?
Oh, you have for sure. I want some deets though. I want some deets.
Yeah. No, I've been really fortunate. Just got on a bunch of deer. I've still never shot a deer with a rifle. Just because I was always, the bow was like so a part of the experience. So just not terribly interested in gun hunting. I love guns. But gun hunting, I don't know. I'm just kind of ate up with the bow. So
yeah,
it's fun, man. I just like to get close, and got a couple of nice deer. Nothing crazy. I'm really just
What's your
I'm learning.
So what's your kill count? Have you killed some does and some bucks, or what have you?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm probably like a dozen.
That's cool.
A dozen deer. Yeah. And I got a nice buck last year. He's like 135-inch 8-pointer.
Wow, yeah, that's a great buck, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cool story because there was like what would have been a state record deer was a deadhead was found here in our county in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. It was like a 250-something-inch deadhead.
Oh my!
And I got some intel on where this deadhead was found, and it was on public ground. And somebody from church, their nephew, found it, and he was an outdoor life and all that stuff written up about it. And the pictures are insane. You can Google it. But,
I've seen this. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
man. Yeah, that's not far from my home. And so I think it was November 14th or 15th last year in 2020, and because of Vector work, just I didn't get to hunt a ton last year, so I think it was like one of my 6 sits last year in Wisconsin. At least I did go out to Colorado, but it was November 15th. I hike out to this area in this swamp where they said that head was found, and I just kind of scouting with my bow, and get out to this oak island in the middle of a marsh, and it's like, I kind of walk up on the land, and I had my waders on, and just like maybe 30 seconds, I hear crash, crash, crash. I look up, and there's a buck chasing a doe is about to run right past me. So I just kind of stepped behind a tree and drew my bow and stopped the buck at 8 yards and
Oh my gosh!
He didn't even know what hit him.
Oh, that is too cool.
This oak island is like, maybe half an acre, and there's acorns everywhere, and just every tree, it just seems like it's all rubbed up, and just the buck nest. And so I left the camera and got some sweet pictures. There's just a bunch of bucks in there, but that's cool, man. So just things like that, learning to find like the right areas and know what the deer are looking for, and
that's picturesque too. Like
it was awesome.
Like you need to write like back page or something for one of the magazines. Like put on your waders and wait it out there and shot it. Like that's cool.
What date was that on?
That was November 14th or 15th.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah, it was like a day or two before rifle season opened.
Yeah.
So it was kind of my last ditch effort. Like, man, I've hardly been able to hunt, like all through the rut, and I was kind of kicking myself and like, just go explore, take my bow, see what I see, and boom, happened in 30 minutes.
So
30 minutes in the car, like, so cool.
What was your approach to kind of learning? I guess I don't want to say how to hunt because you kind of, but maybe how to hunt whitetail with archery gear. Like, are you go out there and trial and error type guy, or I kind of know what your answer is going to be because we talk a lot. And I know you're a research type guy, but like tell me a little bit about that. Like when throughout those years, when did you feel like you were kind of ready to go out and just do this thing on your own, and you could go make your own inferences and stuff? Goodness.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Well, I didn't shoot anything for I think the first 2 seasons. I didn't even get close to anything. That was probably like 2010, 2010 to 2012. Like, didn't I was so frustrated and just enjoyed being out there, and that's kind of what kept me going. But then I started to find like the DeQuistos and like caught onto the mobile hunting thing, and like that whole philosophy just like changed everything. And being able to really just adapt on the go and kind of take a more tactical approach just really kind of made it into a whole different game for me, and just felt so much more engaging. Like, I'm not just sitting here and like my wife thinks I'm doing, like like she's got and just like most other people, anybody who's not a hunter, you think like, oh, I'm just gonna go sit there. What do you just sit there, drink beer? Like, no,
in South Texas you do.
This is aggressive. Yeah, well, most people in Wisconsin do too, probably. That's more gun hunting guys, I think. But man, I it's just that mobile hunting element, man, that just changes everything. And then when the saddle kind of got big and saddles are everywhere now, it's like, and it really does make such a big difference to be able to, hike out, scout as you hunt, and get on the fresh sign and, make it happen.
It's cool.
Game changer.
Yeah,
it's
man,
so cool,
for
man.
sure.
Hey, real quick, guys, I was going to let you guys know that we will be doing a kind of scouting session, kind of a clinic, I guess, for lack of a better term. We're going to be hanging out at the Hagerman National Wildlife Refuge here in North Texas on August 14th. If you are interested in coming out, scouting some public ground with us, and then also doing a bunch of Onyx Q&A, looking at the maps, maybe even some saddle stuff with the cruisers, talking about how to hunt and shoot out of a saddle on August 14th. If you're interested in doing that with us, then you can go to our website, theelementwild.com, check out the shop or store link, and you can buy an event ticket for that event in August, and we will see you there. That saddle stuff, man, you hit on, man. You hit it on the head, man. It's not that I won't hunt out of a stand again. I know I will, and I killed a big deer out of a stand last year, but man, that saddle stuff is cool, especially like as they get more comfortable, like as people start to figure out how to make these things more comfortable. Like, we're working with Cruiser this year, and they're the ones that I've tried, at least, they are for sure the most comfortable, and that's going to help me a lot for a lot of different reasons we've talked about in several videos.
Tyler's not a guy who likes to sit there very long.
No, I don't, man. I'm just thinking the whole time.
For sure. No, same for me. It's like, but to have the freedom to be like, oh, I haven't seen anything for 3 hours, I think I'm going to move. Like, that just keeps it so much more interesting and fun. Mm-hmm. Like, and just to have that ability and not, I remember like lugging a stand around, even though it was like a pretty light stand setup. It's still like, once you're in the tree, you're thinking, I haven't seen anything for 3 hours, but I just set my whole stand up. Like, I'll just stay here,
Yeah,
but
it gives you
the saddle is like totally different. It's like, oh, just take 3 minutes. I'll, be walking to the next spot. So
yeah, it gives you gumption,
that's
man.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Sure. I actually had a pretty sweet setup, but about a year ago when I started Vector, I sold everything like that I could put on eBay, and just to put everything into this idea, this Vector, and like down to like any piece of like camo or anything worth anything. I just sold it all. So I'm kind of like rebuilding my kit now, and like I'm looking at that cruiser thinking that's probably going to be the move.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't bad.
Sure.
Yeah, they're cool, man, for sure.
Are you so were you ground bound last year when you shot that deer? Like you didn't really have a setup and you were just hunting from the ground a bunch?
No, I think I was borrowing a saddle for November.
Yeah.
I can't remember what kind it was, but yeah, obviously didn't end up using it. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk a little bit about the access on that deal from that hunt. So, wader access is kind of like, that's pretty cool, man. It's not something everybody does down here, but like, is that a thing that Wisconsins are kind of used to just doing and having, putting their waders on to go hunting because it's marshy, or like?
Yeah, in Wisconsin, I mean, we're in the southern part of the state. There's a lot of agriculture. I mean, it's corn and beans pretty much. And there's a lot of public land around here. But pretty much all the public land is just what couldn't be farmed. Mm-hmm. And so it's pretty much like marshy. But it's this really, really cool area because there's just ag everywhere. And then public land that's super marshy is like heavy bedding, and if you get into in deep enough in that marshy stuff, there's just islands, areas that are a little bit higher elevation where it's dry, and you get these giant oak trees that drop acorns, and then that's just like a major like feeding spot for all these deer back in the marsh. It's interesting, man. And most people just don't want to hike back there, and I don't blame them because, you got to sometimes kayak, sometimes, have waders. Or actually, a couple times I've just taken like really heavy-duty garbage bags and stuffed them in my backpack. And when I want to wade something, just put a leg in each garbage bag and hold them up and walk across and then roll them back up.
It's a pretty good idea. It's better than doing like the potato race style with one garbage bag. That'd be pretty tough to do.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a good way to eat water.
It's a good way to get soaked. Yeah. There's a lot of water. And I mean, if you're hunting public, that is like, obviously, private's kind of a different deal, but and I had permission on a couple properties, but I've, just it's fun being on public because there's that just aspect of exploring, just having lots more space than you'll ever.
I'm glad you said that because that is what I like about it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people sometimes really enjoy the competition side of public land, and that's my least favorite part. Me too. If I could have all that land to myself, that would be great. Mm-hmm. Outside of the whole hunter recruitment problem that people like to rage about, but like, if that wasn't an issue, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am not one of those people who's like, oh, I love it because it's anybody's deer, and I go kill it, I like the solitude and exactly what you're talking about, the exploring thing where like, I grew up hunting on, little tiny leases here in East Texas where you got like 40 acres and you just sit in your own spot all season long and wait on a deer to come by.
Oh, man, sure.
It's so hard to learn that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. It's like at least half of what's addicting about this stuff to me is like learning the spot, and what's happening here. Like, and that's pretty addicting.
Are you seeing them still feed on acorns in that mid-November time period on those islands?
It kind of depends on the year because sometimes there's a lot more acorns than other years.
Ooh, you almost said it.
Almost got you.
Acorns, dang it.
I heard you.
I'm going to start saying y'all and dude.
Oh, you need to. Wait, y'all don't say dude up there?
No,
Bro.
just not like you do.
Oh.
Bro.
Hey, dude. I can't even-
That's funny. What? So we were scouting Illinois and Indiana a couple weeks back, and we figured out there's a whole new type of oak tree up there that we don't even know about, called a shingle oak.
Oh, yeah?
And we've never seen that. We didn't even know what it was. We had to look it up, and half the time we were misidentifying it as a beech. But
Oh, really?
Yeah.
like
Hank Williams
when
Jr.
I know this is real specific, and we don't like to get into this much detail a lot of times, but for our own personal stuff, like how much do deer eat shingle oaks? Like, where are they at in the preferential, and like when do those fall? Do you know much about that?
I have no idea, man.
Yeah. It blows my mind. You know, it's like, well, it's a whole new food source. I don't have a clue what it does. You know.
I don't know that term, shingle oak.
Okay. Well, then
Yeah.
maybe it's pretty specific. They're like an oak tree that doesn't have any lobes to the leaves. They're kind of like just one.
Weird.
It's more like
Yeah.
a fat willow
Yeah.
oak leaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you like using OnX to find those islands, or what are you doing exactly when you go out there to explore?
Yeah, Onyx, and sometimes like Google Maps just has like a different image, and yeah, Onyx has been amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
especially to find like just where public land is, because a lot of it's not marked here, or like there's a DNR lease or something that's private land, but you can hunt it. Stuff like that. That's where it's, you barely ever see any people
Yeah.
on those spots, and they're just highly overlooked. So
Yeah, in that marsh country, like, you can figure out some legit trail action with OnX and really any aerial map.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the way to look at that island stuff. We have a good friend from Michigan who he's a public land killer, man, and he would never know because he just laughs all the time. He like smiles and laughs. That's all he does. Sam Hogan, he was actually on that hog hunt you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He's the guy that
You were on the phone with.
I was on the phone with. It's like, they're headed your way, and I was like, But anyways, he does that all the time. Like, he just looks at the maps and just looks for these places where there's an island with a bunch of trails going to it, and goes and kills deer and just laughs it off. You kind of got back into hunting and has been doing it for a little while. Why did you decide to kind of go down this path of, or maybe this vector, if I could say,
Whoa.
right? To use the term appropriately. Why'd you want to build arrows, man?
yeah, so getting back into archery and stuff, in the early 2010s, like I went right to the full metal jacket, shot some deer with it. Didn't really have any problems with like what was available widely on the market. But what I had a problem with was just the process of finding what worked for me. And I'd see guys on YouTube, have such a high degree of accuracy, and I'd, watch like a slow-mo video of an arrow coming off a bow and think, well, why doesn't mine do that? Like, I don't know. And I was frustrated with the equipment. I was frustrated with my arrows and not understanding, or, even having the tools or access to tools that I could build my own and really go down the rabbit trail. So, it was just always in the back of my head, like, why isn't there like a arrow company that would just send me the arrows like ready to shoot, where I don't have to take them to the shop to get them cut to length? And, how do I know how heavy my insert should be? Or like, if I want to change the weight of my broadhead, then that means I can't just like look at the spine chart anymore. Like, stuff like that. So there's some level of physics and sciencey stuff that I still am wrapping my head around, at least at some level. Like, that it's kind of over the heads of a lot of the, average hunter out there who wants to have a good experience in the woods. They don't want to wound deer. I mean, nobody wants to wound deer, but I feel like a lot of the tools that are available these days, be it, certain broadheads or, super lightweight, flimsy, not durable, shafts, things like that. I don't know. I wanted to make a product, but also a process that made great performance available to the average hunter who does not care to go down the rabbit hole and read the Ashby reports and, understand the tool that they're using on that next level, or they don't want to do the math. They don't want to buy an arrow saw, things like that. So with Vector, we've put out an arrow model, our first of hopefully several more to come in the next year. But yeah. But the idea is, when you buy arrows from Vector, they come built to your specs. Mm-hmm. So that means they fit your draw length. We're taking into account what kind of broadhead you're going to use, or what kind of game you're hunting. Like, those things matter when you're building an arrow, because, the arrow is the only piece that touches the deer. We just obsess about our bows, and so many people buy a new bow every year, and then they, get a box of arrows that, they cheap out on the arrow, mm-hmm. and they're going to just keep having the same experience in the woods, no matter what bow they shoot, because it's all about the arrow.
Yeah.
So
for the people who might not know, I don't want you to go into excessive detail because it's, pages long. Well, let's ask this. Tyler, do you know who Ed Ashby is?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
See, no, that's okay. You don't have to. That's the whole point of Vector, right?
Yeah.
And
I just am supposed to know.
No,
probably,
you're not. You know, dude, you killed 5 giant bucks last year. So, don't worry. 4 plus 1.
4 and a quarter or something like that.
4 and a quarter.
Like, I wanted to say that not to embarrass you, but to kind of give that as an example. Yeah. It's like, not everybody's going to go down that path, and it's okay. But Isaac, just kind of to explain, you name dropped that a while ago. What is the Ashby report, and what's that detail?
Yeah, for sure. So, for decades, decades ago, especially through the 70s, Ed Ashby was doing. He was just a normal guy who was really passionate about bow hunting. He is actually a doctor.
Texan too.
What's that?
He's a Texan too.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
It's important.
That's right.
Essential detail. And he was, passionate about bow hunting, and around that time, it was, bow hunting was perceived to be far less ethical than gun hunting, because how could it be as lethal or humane of a way to put an animal down? And so it was illegal to bow hunt on most of the planet. But so Ed Ashby was kind of on this mission to change the way bow hunting was perceived. And, through research and reporting on, what turned out to be decades of research, he did show that bow hunting could be the most ethical way to harvest game. And so his reports are, there's hundreds of pages written by him and people now at the Ashby Foundation on ethical bow hunting, and a lot of it has to do with some of the hot button terms that you hear thrown around the internet these days: heavy arrows, high FOC, single bevel blade broadheads, things like that. He popularized a lot of that. And a lot of, all of his research was done with traditional equipment. And so it was really more focused on, how do you kill a giant buffalo with 45 to 55 pound longbows and recurves, And that puts a whole lot of emphasis on the arrow. And that's, it's really why they landed at certain numbers. One of the 12 rules of arrow penetration is 650 grains and above. That's like the bone breaking threshold, as we call it. So, like, if you want to be able to penetrate anything, you have to be above, or anything hard, like a large bone, a scapula, leg bones. You have to be above a certain, weight, which I think a lot of that has changed with modern bow technology. There's so much more energy going to that arrow. So I think certain things change, but he really changed the conversation around what is ethical. There's several countries in Africa that legalized bow hunting. And I believe Russia is on the list too. Russia legalized bow hunting because of his research. And I don't know. He's a fascinating guy, real character. But yeah, I wanted to understand all those things that went into making an arrow effective and making a humane, ethical, and efficient, fast harvest.
Yeah.
And bringing that into kind of a new era where, we're not necessarily advocating for a 650 grain arrow anymore, but like 550 is pretty sweet, like 550 grain arrows, you're going to be able to, you started it, Tyler. And 550 grain arrow, you can shoot anything, North America with that. And out of, a relatively low poundage bow, like if you have a good broadhead with an appropriate mechanical advantage, like there are other elements, like it's an ecosystem, a system, So that arrow is so important, and there's a little bit of math involved in just getting the right arrow, the right FOC to have awesome arrow flight, accuracy, and to have the confidence that when you hit what you're aiming at, it's gonna go through it, and ideally all the way through it, out the other side.
Tell me about that math. I mean, that's stuff that's you could, everyone can kind of work through if they wanted to and take the time, right? But that's kind of one of the things that you are doing is to try to help take that edge off.
Yeah, for sure. Let me look up this here pinwheel. So I started to understand this much better when I started using pinwheel software. If you go to pinwheelsoftware.com, they make a software called SFAX. It's like software for archers. There's a 10-day free trial. You'll learn so much just downloading that software for the trial and messing with like insert weight and changing your setup on there, and you can actually play with the vector arrow. You just like import a 300 spine vector arrow.
That's cool.
And you can change like the insert weight and see what that does to your spine and total arrow weight.
When I Google pinwheel, it comes up with cinnamon rolls. So you probably have to throw the software on the back of it.
Pinwheelsoftware.com. Yeah. It's a super cool software. And I, it's kind of what got my gears turning. Like, this tool just needs to be available on our site. Like, where you just punch in draw length, draw weight, how heavy is your broadhead, what are you hunting? Like, it doesn't have to be any harder than that. And we should be able to get you extremely close to a perfect arrow setup by running the same, or I don't have the same algorithm as Pinwheel, obviously, that's theirs. But we, spent the last year creating our own algorithm. And I shouldn't say we really. I've had a lot of help from people who are smarter than me, but, agreed that this is a thing that should exist. And, like, I've kind of got a team come together, a dream team of just really smart people who, are of the same mission and have been able to put that together where now you can do just that. You don't have to do any math. You don't have to download any software. You can go on our site and plug in draw length, draw weight, point weight, and hit preview arrow, and it'll tell you how much it'll weigh, what spine, what insert you're going to get. And if it looks good, add it to cart. We'll build it for you.
That's cool.
And it's just ready to shoot, and I just wish I had something like this like 10 years ago, though, when I was like kind of getting back into it, 8-10 years ago, it would have really helped me on that learning curve, because I think I would have been a lot more successful. I think I would have had a way better time in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what it's all about, just helping people have a better experience in the woods and ideally make cleaner kills. Like, I think bow hunting is kind of under attack for all these YouTube videos of deer running away with a, nocturnal sticking out of it.
Yeah.
And then you never find it, and there's blood, but oh man, can't find it. Bummer. And people quit a little too fast sometimes, and I don't know. But it doesn't have to be like that. You put 2 holes in a deer with a good broadhead, and things change. You find a lot more of those deer. That's for sure.
What is the I think any good scientific process has a specific end goal in mind, right? Like you're building a good arrow, but like, what is that arrow specifically designed to do to give you the most efficient and effective projectile? Or because the thing is, you're not going for speed, right? Like, if you're a speed guy, first of all, you shouldn't be, and second of all, like, this isn't going to be the thing for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, to an extent, I think we're trying to bridge the gap a little bit, but I can't get too far into that at the moment. Yeah, I think future arrows that we put out, we're working on some that are lighter shafts.
Mm-hmm. I've got some cool name ideas for you for those, by the way, in case you want those. Yeah.
Yeah, like what? What do you got?
So HMR for hammer, you could do an axe, AXE, be a little lighter than a hammer,
For sure. Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
That's awesome. I thought I like the axe. I also like the hatchet.
That's what I was thinking.
Hatchet would be cool. It goes with your book theme too,
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That'd be a good homage, I guess.
Yeah.
To where it all started.
And then,
yeah, man, I like that. That's cool. Or the scalpel.
Well, see, now you're getting away from the 3-letter thing. So, I didn't know you're willing to do that. If that's the case, man, I've got
don't know
a
how
whole
you spell hatchet with 3 letters, man.
Hatchet. I can make it happen. I promise. But it might be letters that we don't use in English, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's not an English slang. Yeah, but yeah. So specifically, it's really as simple as Ashby's 12 arrow penetration factors. And if you just search 12 factors of arrow penetration on the internet, you'll find a bunch of places where they're outlined and kind of defined. But structural integrity is number 1. Arrow flight is number 2. Arrow FOC is number 3. And it goes on with some broadhead details like mechanical advantage.
We'll have to have you on another time to talk about that, because that's a whole other thing.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about that right now. I know we've talked about it a few times on the phone, but yeah, man, that's a very interesting one, like coming into a new age of, broadheads are just so efficient now, like the iron will, the kudu point, like, even some that on paper don't have an ideal mechanical advantage. They're just the hard to beat. So I don't know, man.
The Bumblebee tells you that not everything on paper is what it seems, right? So like the real world experience means a whole lot, and I think that's what matters with getting out here and shooting stuff with this. And that's like we were talking about off the phone the other day, like having pigs around is awesome because we get to do a lot of testing, like real world testing. And that's really what Ashby stuff goes back to, is the real world testing of shooting actual bones and actual animals with this stuff, like you can, sit around and doodle on the paper and nerd out a lot, but like actually putting this stuff into practice is what makes the big difference. And I think that's what's cool about you and, what a lot of us do, where we want to have something that works to the best of our abilities, but something that's also obtainable and be able to use it and not just be a guy. Because we all know those forum guys, right? They have the sweetest setups of everything, but they don't have enough. They don't spend enough time away from the keyboard to go, actually use it. And I think that's the even mix that we're going for here, and that's why I like what you have going at Vector, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm trying to make a new level of hunting performance just available to the average Joe bow hunter who wants to step up their game, have more success in the woods. Like, obviously that's important to all of us. But this is an avenue where I think that's really possible. And I think you guys shot a couple of them. I sent you, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were pretty on, like, out of the box, right?
Dude, you just we're like, I think you just looked at our Instagram photo of us and we're like, that's what these guys are going to need. You didn't even need our numbers, man. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was shooting them with broadheads out to 70 yards and just grouping really good, and that was before we even plugged in the algorithm. That's just from Isaac's pure knowledge. So
we were working on a trad bow setup for me until I exploded my bow.
Yeah, you need a new bow now, and then we'll talk about that another time. Trad is kind of another animal that does take a little more testing because you don't have the same release every time. But on a compound, you really can get close to 100% with a fancy calculator on the internet. And it's kind of nuts, man. It's if that's made accessible to people, I think it'll be really valuable, and that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I mean, y'all have, you've kind of found a way to make it accessible for a lot of folks. You have test packs and stuff like that. If you're not convinced completely, then, you can go to your website and spend, a pretty minimal amount to be able to kind of test it out and see if it works for you, which is a really cool thing. But, I mean,
yeah, for sure. And not to sound like a commercial here, but I just think it works, man.
Yeah.
It's like it works for me. It's helped a lot of our customers, like, just have a better experience in the woods and be more successful. Like, $29 for a test pack. I think you'll see the difference. They just sound different hitting your target, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
If you're used to rolling down to Cabela's and getting something out of a box, like, this is it really changes things. So
it does, man. It does for sure. And the attention to detail that you pay, I think that's one of the cool things that you got going, man, is that it's a premium product at an approachable, not just approachable price, but just all aspects. Like it's like, I can kind of customize the colors a little bit, or I can kind of play with point weight if I want to, and yada yada, and it's pretty cool. And then we're going to do some real world testing here pretty soon. We've been putting out a little corn, trying to get the pigs in, and then I think looking forward, we might spend a little time in hunting camp together this fall if all the stars align right.
I sure hope so, man. I cannot wait. I've been working like a dog.
I know you have,
dude. I mean, we're hiring for another, I think, 3 positions right now.
Oh man, so that's awesome!
It's crazy, man. It's definitely struck a nerve. A lot of people are like, "Man, this is awesome. This is what we've been looking for." So we're trying to just
well. If you're out there and you need a job and you're in southern Wisconsin, go talk to Isaac, because we want him to go to Nebraska with us this year. So hopefully we can all do a podcast again then, but maybe around a couple dead deer, and just live it up.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Man, I tell you, we did this thing one time around a dead elk where we all just ate supper and had campfire and just were podcasting after somebody killed an elk, and it was like the baddest thing ever. And I crave that. So we got to do that but not elk, whitetail in Nebraska this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So cool, man. I know you got to get out of here. So why don't you tell everybody where they can go check out what you got going on?
Yeah, for sure. Instagram, Vector Custom Shop, vectorcustomshop.com. Just reach out with any questions you got.
Yeah, awesome, dude. We will link to that stuff below, and of course, you can follow him on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. We'll be talking about this stuff and experiment stuff a lot in the next coming months because it is arrow season, man. So we really appreciate your friendship, dude, and your partnership and everything that we're doing together. I can't wait for what 2021 holds for all of us, dude.
Heck yeah. Oh, me too, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, I'm excited to watch you kill stuff.
Back at you, dude. I'm going to shoot the first dink I can in Nebraska. That way I can be your cameraman because it's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
Sounds
sweet.
Good.
Awesome, dude. Well, we'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Later, guys. Thanks.
So if you are just a little bit vector curious and you want to check out what Isaac and them have going on over there, check out the post that was made on our social media, The Element Wild, or at The Element Wild, and see if maybe you qualify for one of the giveaways that we're doing over there. It's we're going to post some stuff about some arrows and stuff. So go over there and check out that post if you're curious about some vector stuff, and get yourself a couple of arrows, maybe even a bunch of arrows. Who knows? It just depends how crazy we get. And check out some of that vector stuff for yourself. I'm ready, honestly, to stop talking about all of this stuff and actually hunt. It is that point. We get to this point every year, and I feel like it's earlier than ever this year. Like, I'm so tired of talking about hunting. Not really, that's a lie. But I would rather be hunting.
Yeah.
And like, in fact,
it's easier to talk about hunting when you've been hunting.
Yeah.
It's like at this point I'm like, okay, well, we talked about everything from 2020. So now what do we do?
Well, that was the thing too. In March, I'm like, I don't know if I really need to talk about hunting right now. I'm ready to fish or whatever. But now I'm like, okay, it's time,
dude. But it's actually closer now than what it feels like because I've been so busy with the house and vacation.
We're 2 months from hunting.
I know, dude.
That's no time.
I know. Let's go. Let's go,
dude. Literally by right now, 2 months. This is July 1st. We're recording this. Someone may. It's July 2nd. There's a good chance one of us has shot a deer.
That's scary, dude.
In 2 months, so I'm hot, dude. I'm ready. If you want to figure out how to find deer, or maybe you want to brush up, or you want to just hone your skills, okay? And not that we're experts, all right? But we deer hunt, y'all deer hunt, we all deer hunt. But we have a podcast that talks about it. Go check out on Tuesdays. We're doing something in collaboration with Onyx directly. It's called Public Pins. We've been released 2 of those so far, where we do a really deep dive into map scouting and then convert that into boot scouting and how to label things on a map and that sort of thing. So if you haven't, go check those out. Those release every Tuesday, probably until mid-August or something like that.
We talk about our best spots, man.
Yes.
Some of the spots that we find deer the most often and shoot them with bows.
Very, very whitetail centric. Like probably some of the most detailed whitetail content that we do on podcast stuff. And it kind of collaborates somewhat with our Map Scout Challenge stuff, but is like the audio version of that in a way to really dial in that stuff. Because I know, like, straight up, there are guys who are a lot better at like making moves in the woods to kill deer, but you and I have put a ton of work into being good at the mapping part of stuff because we like to travel around and go different places, and you don't have time to spend like 2 weeks really learning a property with your boots whenever you're traveling to new states a lot. So, like, the map becomes key.
Yep.
So, if you're traveling somewhere this year, you have aspirations of hunting a new spot, or you just want to, try to scalp some of our best spots or whatever, go check out that Public Pins podcast because it actually was a lot of fun to put together.
It was, yeah. And there may still be some episodes we end up putting together, but we have 10 weeks worth of those coming out, so we're pretty excited about it. Go check that out. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast through the app if you haven't already and you like what you're hearing. That means a lot to us, and it will probably give you an opportunity to win something in the future, possibly. It has in the past, I know that, and we're looking at some new stuff. We want to make sure and help everybody out here before the season. So, with that, remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.